It's been 20 years since Master of Disaster Roland Emmerich, along with writer-producer Dean Devlin, unleashed Independence Day on the popcorn-munching masses and left just about everyone with a silly smile on their faces. He's been threatening the world with total destruction on and off since then, with Godzilla, extreme climate change and catastrophic global earthquakes. Seemingly now at a loss for other ways to polish us off, he's brought back the aliens. Fortunately, the human race has made good use of the intervening years. We've taken the alien tech and made all kinds of cool stuff, including big, expensive-looking weapons, in preparation for the next invasion. But will it be enough? Can we survive? And which historic landmarks are going to bite the dust this time?
I had years to get us ready.
We're going down!
We never had a chance.
We didn't last time either. We convinced an entire generation that this is a battle that we could win. We sacrifice for each other, no matter what the cost. And that's worth fighting for.
For what it's worth, the setup to this movie is actually quite satisfying. Rather like last year's Jurassic World, the starting point for Resurgence makes perfect sense. It takes a logical step forward from where the last one left off. But after what seems like a smooth takeoff for an enjoyable ride, the plot kicks in and the movie belly flops back to Earth. Whereas the original Independence Day had a perfectly simple idea at its centre, ticked every alien invasion cliché in the book, and added a few silly twists of its own, Resurgence just feels clumsy and strained over. It has 5 credited writers, and one can almost hear their heads banging together as they try to come up with a good idea between them. What they have come up with isn't terrible, but it's all a bit too speculative for a tentpole blockbuster movie, and just seems like a dull excuse for lots of spaceships to fly over, under, and through lots of other flying things. Unfortunately, the characters only make matters worse. There are just so many of them jostling for our attention, and they do nothing but add further weight to this already ungainly mess. Many of the original cast members have returned, which frankly is a mixed blessing, leaving little room for the new characters to develop. Bill Pullman is back as President Whitmore. But the actor seems to have lost much of his charisma, and his big climactic moment when it comes lacks excitement or emotion. Brent Spiner, a favourite from the last adventure, is also given a lot of screen time, but doesn't provide nearly as much fun as he managed previously. Judd Hirsch is back too, but clearly they couldn't figure out what to do with him. Jeff Goldblum is of course wonderful, his performance as Jeff Goldblum having been honed to perfection over the years. This is among the best Jeff Goldblums that Jeff Goldblum has ever delivered. Thankfully, Will Smith isn't back as Captain Hiller. Personally, I found his cigar-chomping, alien-punching arrogance the worst thing about the first movie, but his absence is dealt with in a way that's completely unsatisfying. Instead, we get Dylan Usher as his son. But despite a significant introduction, he quickly drops out of the foreground. It's as if the filmmakers wanted to give yet another nod to the first movie, but then didn't know what to do with him. None of the other new characters fare much better. The action sequences aren't especially involving either. There's plenty of spectacle, but no sense of exhilaration. The original movie conveyed the beginning of the invasion rather brilliantly by blowing up a few iconic landmarks. It was a cheeky, fun idea that Roland Emmerich has since repeated ad nauseum like a senile uncle proud of his one good joke. Here it's London's Tower Bridge that gets wiped out. But aside from all that, it's all just general destruction, none of which registers on a human level. Whole cities get sucked into the sky and dropped again, but it's hard to care. In fact, it's exhausting to watch. Independence Day Resurgence ends by threatening us with a sequel. I'm not sure if the world can take much more.